Welcome back to this new series where we're trying things from 3 different locations. And today we're trying cookies and we're trying to compare how these 3 different cookie brands are. We have 3 chocolate chip cookies from 3 different companies and then 3 specialty cookies from them as well. So here we have Mountain Mary's cookies, we have Insomnia Cookies, and then Crumbl Cookie. We're going to try and compare them and then rank basically how they are in terms of the specialty cookies and the chocolate chip cookies, and overall what was the best cookie. So let's get started with the chocolate chip cookie. We're going to start first from left to right.
Okay, we'll start with Mary's Mountain Cookie. So this one was our biggest cookie that we got.
Yeah, biggest circumference cookie.
Yeah, I would say that this has a pretty good amount of chocolate in there. Not too many.
Yeah,
It's quite soft too.
yeah. Comes apart pretty easily.
Yeah, I would say this is a really good cookie, kind of your classic cookie. It has a nice chew to it, not too firm, but not too soft.
Yeah, I mean, like in the chocolate chip, it's not like overly sweet, but it's like that kind of classic milk chocolate cookie. So this is a very, very good cookie.
And I feel like for this one, you're getting a pretty good value for the price because it's a really big cookie compared to the other places for their chocolate chip.
Yeah, I think this one was actually cheaper than the Crumbl cookie, and it's bigger in size. I will say the next thing that was pretty cool about Insomnia Cookies was that they were fresh right out of the oven when I got them. They're like still warm, whereas these were kind of been sitting out, and like they make these ones like on a pretty consistent basis, but these ones were just sitting out, but these were like fresh out of the oven. So try the chocolate chip from Insomniac.
Yeah,
Insomnia.
This one looks like it has much more of a chocolate chunks to it, where the other ones look more chocolate chippy. Thank you.
Yeah, you can still see like the chocolate chips are still semi-melted.
Yeah, this is the smallest of the cookies that we've gotten.
But it was a little bit cheaper for the price.
Oh. That chocolate in here is really good.
I love how soft that cookie is too.
Yeah.
It's just like buttery, melt in your mouth kind of cookie.
Well, the nice thing with this one having the chunks is like you bite into it and you get actual chocolate in there. Whereas this one, it had kind of the classic chocolate chunks throughout, or the chips throughout. So it's more of like your classic, what you expect for a cookie. And this one has the chunks, so you really get that chocolate.
Yeah. I just really like how like the edge is that crispiness and the soft center. And then the being so fresh and being made today, like the chocolate's so good because it's just so melty. And it's like a different shade on the milk chocolate scale because it is more chunky. So, all right. Now we have the Crumbl cookie, their classic chocolate chip. This definitely is like the heaviest of the 3. It's got like, I think there's some salt on top of it, so kind of like that sea salty kind of ness. And like, it's still pretty soft, like compared to the inside. Still pretty gooey too.
Oh.
Oops. Wild chocolate.
Yeah, this one looks like it's also chocolate chunks too, instead of just chips.
It almost looks like slightly undercooked in the middle, but just for that like richness.
Yeah, this one is more fall apart than the other ones. So it's not as cooked. So if you like a crisp cookie, this one would not be for you.
It's like when you have that like crispy exterior and like the kind of almost not raw, but like undercooked, which is good if you like that style of cookie, which like I do. I always like to have my cookies when I bake them like just a little bit under, so you have that chew and like richness that comes with it, versus being like crisp and break apart. So
yeah, this one also has a lot of chocolate in it compared to the other one, so you're definitely getting more chocolate chunks to the cookie. So definitely, if you like chocolate and you like kind of that just cooked cookie, so where it's not crisp, I think that one's the one for you.
it is like the messiest of the 3, but I think that's just due from the sheer volume of chocolate that you get in the cookie. And it is kind of like the biggest weight-wise as well. All right, so if you had to rank the chocolate chip cookies from 1 to 3, what was your favorite of the 3 down to your least favorite?
I think for me, when I think of a chocolate chip cookie, I think of having lots of chocolate in there, so you get that flavor. And then I'm much more on the just done kind of cookie level. So I'd say probably my favorite for this round was going to go to Crumbl, They had a lot of chocolate chips in there and chocolate chunks, and it was just done. And then I would say kind of the last two for second place would be the Insomnia and Mary Mountain Cookies. They both kind of had their own positives and negatives, where for Mary's Mountain Cookie, you just get such a big cookie, but it doesn't have the chunks in there, which I really like. Whereas the Insomnia Cookie, it's smaller, so you don't get as much, but it has a lot of chocolate in there. What about you?
I think it's hard. I think I'm torn between the Insomnia and the Crumbl as number one. I think for me, I liked how fresh the Insomnia cookie was, which I think adds to like the quality of the cookie, basically being like they're cooking them pretty quickly. And I didn't like how it's for me, it's like the right size cookie for just myself.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so if I just want a single cookie, it's a little bit like, because it's the size, I like that one. But in terms of like, if you're jamming everything into a cookie, I really like the Crumbl cookie. So I think probably for me, if I was just to go out and buy a cookie, I'd buy the Insomnia, then the Crumbl, and then Mary Mountain's cookie. So that's how I would rank them.
And so now we're moving on to our specialty cookies. So from Mary's Mountain Cookies, we have the Salt Mine. And then from Insomnia Cookie, we have the Double Chocolate Mint. And then lastly, from Crumbl Cookie, we have the Chocolate Peanut Butter.
The idea with these three cookies are like, these are specialty that you couldn't get at the other one, and see how those specialty match up versus the chocolate chip is, they're on the same kind of scale, but there was definitely a ranking and difference between them.
Yeah, for the chocolate chip, that's kind of your basic cookie that it's like, if you're going to be a cookie shop, you should be able to do your classic chocolate chip cookie. So now we're going to start off with Mary Mountain Cookie for their Salt Mine. And this one had...
It was like a caramel-based cookie and with like a chocolate and like white chocolate swirl like on top of it. And you can see some of the caramel chunks in it, I think, is inside the cookie itself. But
yeah, again, this is like a really soft cookie. It's really big. Both of Mary Mountain Cookies have really large sizes to them.
Yeah, most of the cookies they have too are like that size, or like this big.
Yeah.
Is that butterscotch?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's like butterscotch chips that give you that like carameliness.
Yeah, it has like a butterscotch flavor through it. Not too much like sea salt in there. It's not very salty, but it's not overly sweet either.
No.
So it has like a nice balance of flavors to it.
Yeah. I like that cookie. Mm-hmm. I think it was nice with it's a unique flavor having that like butterscotchiness, and the cookie is really big.
Yeah, I'd say for this cookie, it's a really nice like subtle flavor that you can't really get at other places. So it's quite a unique type of cookie.
Yeah. All right, so for this one, it's a chocolate cookie with chocolate pieces, and then it also looks like it has mint like chocolate pieces as well, giving the double chocolate mint cookie kind of vibe to it. And again, these two were both warm, like right out of the oven when I bought them.
Mm-hmm.
So
how does it bend?
it's pretty bendy. It's got a really strong like mint, kind of like mint Oreo or more mint like ice cream kind of aroma.
It smells like those Andes candy. Mm-hmm. So it has that nice mint flavor.
Mm. The chocolate is really good on that. Mm-hmm. And like the mint isn't like overpowering. It's very subtle, but it like still adds because it complements the chocolate to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say this one's a really good mint flavor while having that deep chocolate flavor. So if you like that kind of style cookie where it's like really intense flavors, you get some chunks in there too, so you get that mouthfeel. I think this is a really good cookie.
Yeah, and it's nice because it's like a specialty cookie, but it was the same price as the chocolate chip cookie. Mm-hmm. So that was pretty nice. All right, so next up from Crumbl, we have their chocolate peanut butter cookie. I think this is like a similar kind of base cookie as this, like a dark chocolate cookie. And then it's got chunks of peanut butter, I think, inside of it. Oh yeah, it's like the same kind of peanut butter chip. Very kind of crumbly, more crumbly than the other one.
Ooh, you can smell the peanuts in this one, the peanut butter.
Yeah.
It smells really good.
That peanut butter is really good in there.
It's more of like a subtle flavor for peanut butter. Like when you first eat it, you kind of get that chocolate flavor, and then as it keeps going, you get more of that peanut butter coming through.
Yeah, and it's the same like style as this one, which makes sense. It's got that soft interior, but like crispy around the outside and a little bit of crust on the top. So yeah, this is really good. I mean, I'm a sucker for chocolate and peanut butter together. This combo works really well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this one's a really rich cookie that has those chunks in there, but they kind of melt into your mouth, so it's really nice flavor.
All right, so of these 3 specialty cookies, which was your favorite?
For me, I'm a sucker for chocolate and mint, and so I had to go with the Insomnia cookie. That one just had a really good balance of the mint with the chocolate, and you got really rich flavors of both of them. Also, because they were made fresh, you get that nice, like, gooey kind of texture, but it was crisp enough so it wasn't feeling like it was falling apart.
Yeah, I think for me, I did really like the peanut butter chocolate one, but I think I have to agree with you. I think this was probably the best of them because it was that like fresh out of the oven, which I think adds to like if you're going to a cookie shop, you want a freshly baked cookie. And the chocolate mint worked really well together. It was nothing clashing. It really melded well. And I'm not a huge chocolate mint fan, but I think if I was to pick out one of these 3, it'd probably be this one. Then I'd probably say the peanut butter chocolate one, and lastly would be the salt mine.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that. This one, it was not as good as this one. It just felt more heavy. So it's like I could only have a few bites of that one, whereas this one I felt like I could eat the whole cookie.
Yeah.
And then this one, it was quite different from the other one. So if you want kind of more of a subtle flavor that doesn't have as many chunks in it, I think this one would be your better bet.
Yeah. I think this one it was nice because it did have that like it was the most unique I think of all of the cookies because it did have that like butterscotchiness. The cookie wasn't overly sweet or overly fattening, like in terms of like the flavor profile of it. But I thought and all the things I think that were in the cookie worked well. I think you just need a little bit more salt on top.
Yeah.
To give it that more like sweet and salty like combo together.
Yeah, I was definitely missing that like when you eat the ice cream, that like salted caramel ice cream where you're expecting to have the salt flakes in there to really balance the flavor. This one was missing that, so it just needed a little bit more.
Right.
So if you had to pick from all of these cookies, which one would be your favorite?
I think if they were just laid out on a table, I didn't know anything about them, and I was asked which one, I probably would lean towards this because chocolate chip is like my favorite cookie. But if I'm being honest, I think the Insomnia chocolate chip cookie was my favorite of all of them because it felt like the right size, the right flavor, and it was warm. And like that's all things that I think go well in a cookie. But then I think it's close with this one being like right behind it out of all of them.
Yeah, I think for my top choice, it's going to be the Insomnia one, but the double chocolate mint. And then followed from that, I think I'm going to have to go with the Crumbl chocolate chunk one.
Yeah.
That one just had really good chocolate chunks in there. And so, yeah, I think Insomnia is going to take first place for both of us, and then followed by Crumbl.
So I think that means for us, Insomnia is by far the best cookie company in our opinion, followed by Crumbl, and then Mary's Mountain Cookie. It just seemed to be like we always were choosing this one because it is like fresh, hot out of the oven. They're good size, really good flavor that melds well together. And these are kind of like that gourmet specialty cookie that's just like huge. And like I couldn't eat this all in one sitting.
No.
And probably will have to eat this over the next couple of days, like because it's so big. And then lastly was Mary's Mountain Cookie, which weren't bad. They were just kind of like a value cookie and they were bigger, but that's kind of how I feel.
Yeah, well, the nice thing for both Mary Mountain Cookies and Insomnia Cookie is that they have a standard menu.
Yeah.
And then they have kind of rotational special ones. Whereas for Crumbl Cookie, each week their flavors change. And so if you really find a cookie that you love, it might not be there next week. And so that is something to be mindful if you go to Crumbl Cookies, that they keep changing. So which is great. You get to try out new flavors, but then if you find one that you really like, it's not going to be there anymore.
Yeah, you don't know how long you have to wait to come back, which is why it's nice to get the chocolate because you know that's going to be there every week. It's it's a staple cookie. So
Yeah.
Well, I hope that you found some useful information when trying to pick out some cookies. Again, for us, that's what we were hoping to get out of this video. If you want to see how to make any cookies that I like from scratch, check out the video on the screen right now. I hope to see you again soon. Bye.
Bye.